Hello everyone, welcome back. Okay, so I brought in this willow forest. These are all just collected trees that they literally grow like weeds around here. This main tree was growing out the top of a bin, and the other ones like they just sprout up inside my pots, my other trees, and just everywhere really. You can see how big the leaves can get if you let them grow. You can see the size of that leaf. If you keep them pruned, you can keep them kind of round, the leaves, and you don't get these big long oval ones. And if you don't prune these off, these all start to die back. They get shaded out and they die back. So if you want to keep small leaves on them and you don't want them to die back, you got to keep them pruned, which, as you can see, even this little tiny tree here, look at the length of that one that's growing out. So we'll do a bit of pruning. The landscape needs a bit of weeding too, so we'll do that. It's quite dry, it's quite warm and sunny outside now. It was raining earlier, but it's dried out quite a lot, so we'll give these a watering afterwards. Yeah, there's a tiny little fern here growing. Just show you that. See that little tiny fern? Okay, so let's get on with the pruning. So, glasses on so I can see what I'm doing. So again, like with any other of my trees, just prune back to an outward facing leaf. You see they start dropping leaves if you don't prune them. This is probably left a little bit longer than normal. I normally keep them pruned a bit better than this. I'll take that one off altogether. Obviously with the pruning then you also improve the ramification, so you want to kind of keep them pruned if you can. These ones are here now. Okay, so that's kind of enough for that little tree. Pruned up enough. Let's just go to this big little one right at the back here with us. Take out some of these bigger branches. And then you can see, just by looking at that, the difference between that and when you keep it pruned and keep them short, the difference in the size of the leaves. And again, this is just one of these trees that they grow basically, like I say, anywhere. I'm always picking them out of my my bonsai, and I decided if they grow so easily and so wild here, then surely they're a good tree to make a forest out of, or to grow first. That one here was in my, the main one was in my what's it called, Hobbit House hinging. That was the main tree in that before. Now I changed it for the Chinese elm. And that was it. That tree was growing probably 12 foot tall out of a bin at work where we had cardboard and stuff. It was a recycling bin. It was at the back of our place and it'd kind of been forgotten about. It was full. The lid had blown open and it filled with water, and that tree was growing out the top of it, and like that was really tall and straight, but because it was growing on top of the cardboard in the water, it had a really good root base on it. It was very flat root base and spreading roots, as you can see. So I just did a big chop. You can see in there now the chop is actually at the side, but I just chopped it and started growing it and shaping it into a small tree. And that's where that one came from. All these others have basically just come from around the garden, out of my other pots around the place. You have to keep them well watered. This one's dry now, but if you don't, they do drop their leaves. They don't like to go kind of crispy and they'll drop off. So they kind of struggle. So you kind of want to, I suppose with a willow, they do like the water. So it's actually ideal for the forest planting because the pot is bigger, so obviously it holds more water. It's a bit easier to keep them than moist more than in the small little pots. Again, another good tree to practice with. Like I always say, if you've got trees that grow like this, kind of wild and wherever you're from, they're the trees you want to be practicing on. Honing your skills, practice your wiring if you want to practice wiring and things like that, because they're easily replaced. They don't cost you anything. If they grow like weeds, wherever you're from, whatever tree does grow like a weed, and they're easy accessible, then get yourself a few of them, practice on them. Clean this big guy out now a bit. Obviously, if you want branches to thicken up, then let them grow. But once you have them thick, then you want to keep them pruned. Okay, so as always, I will pause the video now and I'll finish off the pruning. You can basically see what I'm doing, and then you see if you don't prune them, they start sending branches out in all directions, and then we'll come back and have a look at them when it's pruned up. Okay, so I think we're more or less pruned up with it. So you can see we seem to have it all, but like that I'll try and keep on top of it. You can see there the amount I've taken off is quite a lot. Got some pretty big leaves there, so you gotta keep on top of the pruning. So now we'll just give the landscape a little cleaning up, get out all these weeds. It's pretty dry in here. Like I said, we did have rain, but I'd say between the canopy being so big and the fact that these drink so much water and it being so warm now under sunny, it's dried out pretty quick. Ideally I should really try and find something, a tray or something I can put underneath this to keep some of the moisture in. Fertiliser in. Let's take out our little bore for now. Probably redo the paths as well. Liverwort. Okay, so I'll keep weeding it and then we'll come back when I have it all weeded. Okay, so we got all the weeds out. Now the other thing I might do is, this is a rock here. You can see it's nearly completely covered now in moss. So what I might do is just take some of the moss off here and there, just so you can actually see it's a rock, because at the moment it just looks like a big ball of moss. So we'll just take off some bits here and there just to show that it is a rock in there. Otherwise I may as well have just banked up some soil and put some moss over it. And it's quite a nice looking rock, got some good detail to it. Just a little bit here and there, so now you can see that it's a rock. You probably see it better when it's dry. It's kind of a bit more yellowy looking. Okay, so we need to redo the paths. So I'll use some of this fine sieved akidama. I'm just going to show the paths a little bit better. Path up here. Disappears over there. This one here is kind of split into two back here, so just fill in this side. Fill in this side here. I need to prune this seeding back a bit as well. It's getting a bit too big. We do that now. Just chop it right back. That will regrow in no time again. Okay. So fern in there, we've finished the covering. Just give that a little spray just to keep it down. Just flatten it a bit. When we water anyway, it'll flatten it in anyway. Pack it in a bit more. Okay, so I think all we're left to do now is put our little bore back up. Put it back up there, looking over the rock. And I think we're pretty much done with that. So, yeah, so this one used to be on the Hobbit house. So I'll show you the Hobbit house now, so anybody hasn't seen it, you'll see the new tree in it. So we'll go and have a look at that. Okay, so this is the Hobbit house, so I put this Chinese elm in there instead. There's a blueberry bush and an oak then on the top. I just recently redid the path with these kind of little red bricks, and I put this moss in as a kind of a hedge on either side. You can see that. So yeah, that's out enjoying a bit of sun. This is my African looking tree. You can see it needs a bit of work. There's grass is growing in it, so we might have to bring that in and do a bit of work on the landscape on that one. My redwoods growing crazy. Again, landscape needs a bit of work. Moss is all kind of dried out. I want to try and get some more ferns and things and make it more kind of like you would imagine back in the dinosaur age, where there's probably big ferns and tropical looking trees, bushes around. So I want to do that with that one. In Bear Cave, everything seems to be still growing okay. We had this little one in here, his buds are still swelling on it, so I don't know if it's going to take or not. Up here, my large forest on the slab. Again, I gave it a bit of a pruning the other day. Up here is my climbing hydrangea, which I left flower this year. So you can see the flowers just coming out there. Pretty white. I was hoping for a different colour, but I've never left it flower before. So it's nice to see it flowering. And that's it there, root over rock one. So yeah, all doing good. Everything else is doing pretty good, growing quite well. Moved over this side. Cypress, some of my maples. This maple here, this Japanese maple, I had and you can see there, it was in the sun too much. This is what happens if you put your maples and they get too much sun. It's bleaching the leaves. You can see the leaves which weren't in the sun. So I brought it around here just to kind of let it cool down a bit for a little while, and then I'm going to prune off all these leaves that got burnt and stuff. This Pittosporum, I think it's called, needs a bit of pruning back. That's one I got out of it was being dumped, and I chopped it back. And last year I did a big chop back on it because it was getting really full and big. So that needs a bit of work. This liquid amber clump style one, it's going to need a bit of tidying up soon as well. My Norway maple, I'm not too sure what's going on with it, because normally it has red leaves, but this year, as you can see, the leaves have kind of gone green. So I don't know what the story is with it. It's in this is actually a sieve that you get, a garden sieve. So it's like grated on the bottom, and I was watering it the other day and it filled with water, and I couldn't understand why it was filling water when it's in a kind of a grid, has a grid bottom. But then I lifted it up and there was like a layer of dirt underneath which was kind of clogging, and when I lifted it, it just poured through, so it kind of washed that out. So yeah, but yeah, that's growing pretty good now, you can see. My what they called, staghorn trees back here, little forest I did of them. They're all going quite well. I have to dig that out and do a little bit on it. Sycamore I just did some work on. And my big apple that I did the carving on, that's doing well too. What's up here? Beech forest there. It's doing quite good. Oak forest, these are ones I collect on the side of a road. There's my big oak that I did the earlier on. My kind of cliff or rock that I made out of the polystyrene stuff. with my Alberta spruce forest on it. It's doing okay, not doing great. Hard to keep that wet. Everything else seems to be okay. The big larch up here is doing good. This Chinese elm, the one that I put in this rock that I made, it lost all its leaves, so I was debating whether it was going to make it after its repot. So as you can see, it came back well. There's one of the ones I rescued, that's doing really well too. Another one I need to work on soon will be this big piece of bog oak with the 3 junipers. There's one there, one down here, and there's another one right down the bottom. But it's kind of being a bit neglected, full of weeds and stuff, so I need to pull that out and do a bit on it. Everything else seems to be doing okay. The little elm forest, my other redwood forest, that's the one I put the camper van in. I took the camper van off because I don't want it sitting out in the rain and stuff all the time, or it'll get a bit ruined. Larch here on the rocks doing good. Not larch there, juniper, sorry. A little larch in there with that on the rock. A little kind of African guy with the fuchsia growing over him. That's growing really well now. Field maple. These are my 2 little forests. There's this one. There's a couple of trees here, the back here, that don't look great since I repot them. The others are doing okay. This is the other one. You see, it really needs a sorting out. I've got to maybe redo that, take out the weeds, do like I did with this one, put it in some proper soil now, and get it out of there. My Virginia creeper, it's doing pretty good, going nice. These are my little mountain ash rowan trees. A couple of them, one there, and there's another one down here somewhere in the back there, yeah. There's 2 in that. Got a couple of little junipers, one there, another one there. There's that little juniper forest I just did recently with the cuttings. That's just my boxwood forest. The Chinese elm on the rocks that I just worked on. And then Buddy with his toy. Then we got our little one in our little fancy pot. We got the juniper on the rock pot I built. Did a bit of playlist on making that one. That's doing good. A few more. A little pinging with our dwarf what is that? Dwarf myrtle. I can always forget the names of some of them. The Chinese elm with a rock there. That's my ficus, the tiger bark ficus over the kind of rock. My little Chinese elm, my little statue, a little juniper in here, a little cascade kind of one. Let's see if I can get it out. I have to have these reflector things around the place to try and stop the birds. That was just a kind of an airlay that I made a little cascade out of. My little stonewall penjing. You barely see the wall now at this stage again. These are the 3 elms I brought back from England on my last trip. This one, it's losing its indoor leaves, they're burning off. You see the other 2 have lost theirs and they're growing some new leaves now. There's 2 in there. So I might make a little bit of a penjing with the 3 of them. My little Japanese maple back there. It's got a nice kind of shaped trunk and that on it. Here's my rock over tree. It's still doing well. It's got a little honeysuckle on the top. And the tree's going, it's planted in here, coming out through the underneath of the rock under there. That was a little challenge I was given. Nathan gave me that challenge, so I had to build the rock to grow the tree out from underneath. We have our little skeleton here with our Chinese privet growing over him. He obviously died at his desk playing games, probably. A little lemon cypress that we did the video on how I started my big one. There's a dwarf schefflera back there. There's a Chinese elm over kind of well on the side of a rock there. What are they called again? I know, I'll have to think about that again now. Wisteria, that's it. This one's got a white flower on it. Just see the flower there. It was a bit abandoned and neglected up at the top of my bank. There's two of them, that one and there's another one. They were completely full of weeds and really dry. I was surprised it survived, but I just did a repot recently on it. An emergency repot. See, it's sitting in a tray of water there now, so it's doing well. This Chinese elm, this was the only one I thought I might have lost when I did a repot. This is the one over the samurai. When I did the repot on it, it really suffered. It lost all its leaves, went brown, and I thought it might have died, but as you see, it came back, thank God. We have a little Japanese maple in a kind of a pot there. A little portrait of Cariaphora. There's a little juniper. It's just kind of attached to a piece of deadwood. And then I've got my sycamore gap tree here enjoying the sun, and a few more little Japanese maple, got another tigewog ficus, and this is a piece of olive. I got a piece of a root and I just did a bit of carving on the root and I planted it and it started growing, so that's good. Yeah, so that's about it. Oh, there's just my crab apple here. You can see all the apples on it, so that'll be full of red apples soon. Okay, so got a little bit carried away there showing a few of the trees, but yeah, we'll call this video done. I'll take this out now, and you see there's quite a few trees out there need watering, so we'll give them all a good watering now. And yeah, so as always guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe if you haven't already, and we will see you on the next one.